So you have Jesus entering the city. There's all of this fanfare. People are acknowledging that he's king. He's riding on a donkey. People are shouting these declarations that he can save us. And there's all of these different responses. You have the crowd shouting, you're gonna save us. But here's what happened to the crowd that week. Jesus didn't do what they wanted him to do. Play out the story the next 5-6 days. Friday night, he's dead. The crowd essentially turns against Jesus by the end of the week. And do you know why? Because he didn't do what they wanted him to do. He goes into the temple, he makes a big scene, he teaches some radical things. But at the end of the week, the Pharisees and the religious establishment and the high priests have all coordinated with the Roman authorities, and they're like, we're getting rid of this guy. And by Friday afternoon, Jesus is hanging on a cross, which was a criminal's death outside the city. And the whole crowd on Friday, it says, was shouting, yeah, crucify him. We don't want him anymore. What happened? What happened was that Jesus didn't live up to their expectations. What happened is that God didn't do what they wanted him to do. What happened is the king showed up, but it didn't look like they thought it was gonna look. And this is important because sometimes when God shows up in our lives, it doesn't look like the way we want it to look either. And when God starts to work in our hearts and in our lives, it doesn't look like we want it to look. And you and I live in a world where we believe in a good God, a powerful God, a saving God, but we also live in a world that is deeply dysfunctional and completely corrupted by sin and brokenness. And we have to reconcile the fact that we have a good God who does good things, who promises good things, but yet sometimes life is really hard and it doesn't go according to plan. And we have to make a personal decision. How am I gonna respond to Jesus in light of the way that things play out in my life? How am I gonna take Jesus? Because I have the capacity to allow him to enter in my heart as my king. I have the capacity to say, you can save me. And then I also have the capacity 4 seconds later to say, you didn't answer my prayer the way I wanted it to. I'm done. I'm disappointed. I'm hurt. It didn't go the way I wanted it to, so I'm out. I gave it a shot. I tithed 2 times and I'm still broke. I went to church on Christmas. And let me tell you, Jesus does not feel the need to do things the way you want him to. And he wants us to pray. He wants us to ask him for things. But the bottom line is he knows better than us. And I have to decide, am I going to trust that he's good? Is my response to Jesus going to be based on my circumstances?